and someone collapsed during the talk, right in the middle of the talk, and I can't believe I said this, right? But
Well, it's great having you back again, Dr. Greger. What I like most about you, aside from your outgoing personality, is the fact that you are working tirelessly to spread information about real health. Not trendy health fads, but real health, which is why you're such a trusted resource. I mean, nutritionfacts.org. Come on. I mean, that's turned into one of the best education and, dare I say, entertaining resources of health in the world. So thanks for being here.
so glad to help.
Yeah, you've been doing quite a bit of traveling lately since the releases of your two books, How Not to Die and How Not to Die Cookbook. Have you had any downtime?
Yeah, I did about 200 cities in 2016 after How Not to Die came out. But now I'm basically off the road completely, working on the next book.
Nice, nice. I mean, I don't think many people know how long you've been in the trenches fighting for people's lives. So for the viewers out there that are seeing you for the first time, people that are new to the plant-based diet lifestyle, or people that are just curious, or just like hearing it again, like myself, can you give a brief background on your history, your medical history and so forth?
Oh, sure. I think the spark for many kids to want to become a doctor when they grow up is watching a grandparent get sick or even die. But for me, just watching my grandma get better. She was diagnosed with end-stage heart disease. She already had so many bypass surgeries, basically run out of plumbing at some point, gets so scarred up inside. Confined a wheelchair, crushing chest pain. Her life was over at age 65. Nothing more the medical profession could do. Then you heard about this guy, Nathan Pritikin, one of our early lifestyle medicine pioneers, who had just opened a clinic in California. And she became one of his first patients. And in fact, she's featured in Pritikin's biography. Talks about Greger, my grandmother. And, they wheeled her in and she walked out. She was walking 10 miles a day. She was given her medical death sentence at age 65, but thanks to a healthy diet, was able to enjoy another 31 years on this planet until age 96.
Wow.
To continue to enjoy your 6 grandkids, including me. So that's why I went into medicine. That's why I practiced the type of medicine I practice, lifestyle medicine. That's why I started nutritionfacts.org. That's why I wrote How Not to Die. That's why all the proceeds I received from all my books and speaking engagements all goes to charity. I just want to do for everyone's family what Pritikin did for my family.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a purposeful life like that. It's fantastic. Now, in this part of the interview, I want to talk about you, Dr. Michael Greger. Now, who is the fascinating man behind the science of health and wellness? I mean, I have some questions ready because I want the audience to understand you more and get a better idea of the day-to-day Dr. Greger that we don't often see. I want to hear about some of your favorite meals. You wake up in the morning and you like to eat what?
One of my favorite breakfasts, in fact, if I do I'd love to do another cooking video. I did 2 so far. People love them. They're just it just takes so much work that it's hard to justify taking time away from other stuff. But if I was going to do a next one, it would be my favorite. I did a favorite dessert, did a favorite drink. That would be my favorite breakfast. So basically what I do is take whole oat groats, black barley, and then some lentils, and put it in an electric, pressure cooker. And with 3 parts water. So that's kind of the base. So it's kind of like a intact whole oat groat oatmeal with the anthocyanin-rich barley and lentils. Because I got to get my daily dozen in. So I got to have legumes for breakfast, some kind of beans, split peas, chickpeas, lentils. And then I go crazy. Then I can go in lots of different directions. I can go pumpkin pie. Spice and canned pumpkin, and go that route, and frozen cranberries. Or I go this morning, I did a water pack canned tart cherries with cocoa powder. So I had kind of a chocolate covered cherry kind of Valentine's Day kind of oatmeal action. I wish I had some fresh mint. Unfortunately, I don't. But that would have taken it over the top there. Right. But but that's kind of like my winter breakfast when it's cold outside. Eat some, nice kind of something warm like that. And I usually do more kind of green smoothie action for summer.
Yeah, right on. Do you ever go out to eat?
It's, well, I mean, when I'm on the road, I would choose now. I mean, but when I'm home, I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, just because well, mostly I don't want to take the time away from my work, but,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find good, healthy food.
I agree. Can you share one of your funniest moments while lecturing or being interviewed? Do you have any of those moments that just kind of stand out where, you know, it was just
Funny,
unexpected or, you know, awkward or
funny. Oh my God. Well, this is like anti-funny. Um, so someone actually collapsed
Mm,
during so this is in Concord, New Hampshire, and big kind of auditorium filled with doctors. I was speaking to the staff, and someone collapsed during the talk, right in the middle of the talk, and I can't believe I said this, right? But I immediately called out. I said, "Get that man some kale,"
no,
right?
no
And
way.
And I instantly realized that this is like the absolute worst thing I could
Oops.
possibly have said. Like this poor guy, right?
Right.
So this was all, the whole audience was doctors. So it's not like call 911. Like there were literally emergency room physicians there. Like they were the ones that would get the call, like, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy was taken care of, but it was just not the time for joking. And I felt horrible. And
Yep.
yeah, that was a very bad use of Gregor humor.
Yeah, I hear you.
I
Sometimes,
apologize to all my Concord Hospital listeners.
wow, that's
I don't know
awkward.
where that came from, but
That's
yeah.
Yeah, that's awkward. Sometimes I'm at the gym, right? And I'm training really hard. And every once in a while, a cuss word will slip out. And I'm like, oh, I got to watch myself. And there was this pastor that's working out there too. And I talked to him. I said, do you ever swear? And he says, no. And I said, why? And he says, because it slips out at the most inappropriate times. And I'm like, oh, I got to keep a little more consciousness in my thought processes when I'm
Right.
training in the gym. But yeah, it comes out at times that you least expect it. I want to talk with you about your favorite plant-based myths that you enjoy busting. And I've got them listed out in order. Myth number 1, dairy is the best source of calcium for human beings.
I mean, it doesn't even make any sense, right? I mean, so first of all, milk is for babies,
Right.
right? But no, I mean, you don't drink milk after weaning. Like that doesn't make any biological sense. And then to drink milk of another species, like that's just like, why aren't we suckling donkeys or dog milk or like, I mean, just so weird, right? This whole concept of like, but look, that just because something's unnatural doesn't mean it's bad. But you know, food is a package deal. Yes, there's lots of dairy, calcium in dairy, but there's also lots of saturated butterfat and cholesterol, things we don't want. And it's missing out on all the wonderful things that you get if you got your calcium from dark green leafy vegetables, right? Like the fiber and the folate and the iron, other things that are missing from a dairy source of calcium. And so, yeah, so food is a package deal. It's almost always preferable to get you nutrients in kind of the plant package, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's iron in beef, but yeah, no matter how much, you know, Burger King says you can have it your way. It can't be like, yeah, I like the burger, hold the saturated fat, hold the cholesterol, hold the hormone. Like that's just not how it works.
Right.
It all comes together. So hey, why not get your iron, zinc from beans, and from beans instead? Because then again, you get the folate potassium, you get all these other wonderful plant nutrients that go with it. And that's what we're really desperately lacking, right? I mean, people aren't dying from protein deficiencies, but they're dying. What is contributing to death and disease is their lack of potassium. 98% of Americans don't even reach the recommended minimum daily intake of potassium. 97% don't meet the recommended minimum daily intake of fiber. So it's like, well, wait a second, where do you get your fiber? Where do you get your potassium? If you're eating these processed foods, you're eating these animal foods, that's what you're really lacking. In fact, what you're getting of is too much of the, salt, sugar, saturated fat, cholesterol.
Right. Good point. Myth number 2, because soy has phytoestrogens, it should be avoided for fear of excess estrogen in women and feminizing effects on men.
So that's a basic misunderstanding. I got a bunch of videos on this. So basically 2 types of estrogen receptors in the body. There's alpha and beta, and your own endogenous estrogens preferentially bind to one, whereas the soy phytoestrogens bind to the other. So the effects of soy phytoestrogens depends on the relative balance of alpha to beta, and so has proestrogenic effects in some places, like the bones, and preventing bone loss. That's a proestrogenic effect.
Which is
has
helpful.
An anti-estrogenic effect in the breast, reducing risk of breast cancer and improving survival in breast cancer survivals, reducing recurrence rates. And this is whether or not they have estrogen receptor positive or negative breast cancer, BRCA genes or not, on tamoxifen or not. There's been 5 human studies so far, thousands of breast cancer survivors. Put them all together. Women that eat soy live longer, lower rates of cancer recurrence. So that's an anti-estrogenic effect. So you get the kind of best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually technically called a SERM, a selective estrogen receptor modulator, not necessarily a pro or anti-estrogen, but depending on what tissue type. And so soy, like any good legume, is a healthy source of protein.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of training and fitness, and a lot of my videos are fitness based, and I get a lot of comments on mostly from men in fear, because my diet's pretty heavy on soy. I love edamame and tofu and tempeh. I use those things regularly, and they've been very essential and helpful in my athletic endeavors. And a lot of men are fearful of that due to their thoughts of, feminizing effects.
I mean, if they were really concerned about phytoestrogens, they should watch my video on beer. So hops actually has a more powerful phytoestrogen than soy. So beer is actually more estrogenic. But you don't see guys saying, "Oh my God, don't drink beer; you'll get feminizing." I mean,
right, and dairy as well. Myth number 3. Plant proteins are incomplete. Therefore, plant foods need to be mixed and matched in order to get a complete amino acid profile.
Yeah, so that was a myth started in the 70s, actually in Vogue magazine of all places, by Frances Moore Lepay. I mean, she didn't mean to. I mean, she just didn't know any better, and has since, of course, retracted it. I mean, so all plants have all essential amino acids. No such thing as an incomplete plant protein. There's only one incomplete protein, actually, in the food supply. That's gelatin, which is an animal protein. And so you don't need to mix and match. Your body will do it for you. So you eat a variety of plant foods, get enough calories, so you get enough protein. Simple as that. No need to eat beans with rice or whatever. Eat whole plant foods, and protein takes care of itself.
Right on. Number 4, sugar is the cause of type 2 or adult onset diabetes. Therefore, if someone is diabetic or pre-diabetic, they should remove carbs.
Well, I mean, that doesn't even, well, we're talking about two very different things, right? So carbs are, as David Katz likes to put it, lentils and lollipops, right? It's like, you can't talk of carbs as like a single, right?
Right.
It's like saying, foods that start with the letter D are unhealthy. It's like, okay, donuts are unhealthy, but it's like, is fat good or bad? Well, are we talking about pork rinds? We're talking about walnuts, right? Is protein good or bad? Well, again, are we talking about kidney beans? Are we talking? What are we talking about here?
Right.
So we should all stay away from refined carbs, which is all these white bread, sugar, these industrial sugars, high fructose corn syrup, table sugar, and they can indirectly increase risk for diabetes by increasing liver fat, we call non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and that can interfere with insulin signaling. Excess amounts of sugars can increase your blood pressure and triglycerides and all sorts of bad things. So we don't drink soda. I mean, it's just like, that's a bad thing to do.
Right. So for the viewers that may not know, you are walking on a treadmill right now.
I am always walking on a treadmill.
Maximizing your time.
Indeed. Efficiency.
Yes, that's right. Number 5, any kind of whole grain should be avoided because they're void of nutrients, pro-inflammatory, and could cause things like leaky gut syndrome.
Okay, that is somebody who has never cracked a medical journal in their lives. Like, type in inflammation and whole grains into PubMed, right, which is the database, the largest medical library in the world.
Right.
I mean, whole grains are anti-inflammatory. Name your marker: C-reactive protein, anti-inflammatory; tumor necrosis factor, anti-inflammatory. You name your inflammatory cytokine, and you eat whole grains, it goes down. It's just like saying the world is flat. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but there's science. right? I mean, beliefs only go as far as then all of a sudden there's science. Like, we can actually put things to the test and get to the truth. You know, I mean, there's just all sorts of nutritional nonsense out there. And that's why I started nutritionfacts.org, because I'm not interested in opinions or beliefs, or when it comes to something as life and death important as what to feed yourself and your families. If there's any decision to be made based on evidence, it should be that. And so that's why I just present the evidence. Okay, here's the actual studies. Here's, you know, they randomize people in 2 groups, half ate this diet, half ate this diet, then find out what happened. You don't have to just like dream up, well, I bet this would happen if you know, or I bet this is what we ate 2 million years ago. It's like, look, we can put it to the test right now with actual human beings. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you can find all kinds of information like that on your website, nutritionfacts.org. Your videos are incredible. Last one. Plant-based diet is only good for some people, not all people, especially not all stages of life.
Well, so the oldest and largest association of nutrition professionals in the world would disagree, right? That's the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. If you look at their 2017, position paper on plant-based diets, very explicit that strictly plant-based diet is appropriate for all stages of life, pregnancy, infancy, on through old age, and in fact has benefits in terms of reducing chronic disease risk, which is the #1 cause of death and disability. And so, I mean, that's how you sell people crazy supplements and tests and things. You should be like, oh, it's all about personalized nutrition. Yeah, this diet may be good for that person, but for you, like, we're going to give you some like special, you know, your genes say you should eat this, your blood type, or you're a Capricorn, so you should eat whatever. So you should eat lots of corn, you know, obviously it's in the name, right? But that's a way to sell you stuff. I mean, like, you go to a zoo, right? Gorillas eat gorilla food. Like, you know, every animal has their own kind of natural diet.
Right.
And it's not like, well, there's some gorillas that eat, you know, I mean, no. I mean, gorillas, that's just their biology, right? Now, we do have these gene polymorphisms. Some people metabolize caffeine differently, for example, and so may have, you know, there's kind of slight variations. But beyond those kind of minor things, basically, I mean, the same basic principles as to healthy eating and healthy living are the same for everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it definitely works for athletes too. I mean, I can attest for that, and a lot of people that a lot of my colleagues are.
Have you heard about the new Game Changers documentary? Oh my God, it's gonna rock your world. So this is the best plant-based documentary in human history. Just premiered at Sundance last month. And it'll be hitting theaters presumably sometime this year. And so it's about athletic performance, and it's just amazing. I saw an early kind of pre-release copy, and it's just going to blow your socks off.
Fantastic. So now I want to move on to your new book, your cookbook, How Not to Die Cookbook. How did this come about, and why is it a must in people's homes?
The original How Not to Die, the first half was, 15 chapters, each of the 15 leading causes of death.
Right.
About the role diet may play in preventing, arresting, or reversing each of our top 15 killers. I didn't want it to just be a reference book with the thousands of scientific citations. I wanted to be a practical guide on, putting this into, into practice, making day-to-day grocery store type decisions. So I sent in the second half of the book, I sent in my recommendations around a daily dozen checklist of all the things I encourage people to fit in their daily routine, like greens every day, the healthiest vegetables; berries every day, the healthiest fruits; tablespoon of ground flax seeds, quarter teaspoon of turmeric; the best beverages; how much exercise to get, just in hopes of kind of inspiring people to fit some of the healthiest of healthy foods into their daily routine.
Right.
And so I think and there's a free app on iPhone and Android. You can download it and track your progress and stuff. And I was like, okay, I thought that was done so I did the why, I did the how, let's move on. But people were still like, no, I want more. Like, you can't just tell me to eat kale. You need to find a way to make it delicious, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, Google it. Like, there's literally millions of recipes online. Like, why would it? And so, so when the publisher says you got to come out with a cookbook, I'm like, does people buy cookbooks these days? You can try the recipes you want. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, people love cookbooks. And but basically I'm like, all right, if I want to do a cookbook, it's going to be unique, right? And so I didn't want just every recipe to be healthy. I wanted every ingredient of every recipe to be healthy. So every ingredient, a green light food, which is in my traffic light system, means whole plant food. So, you know, how do you make something salty without salt? How do you make something sweet without sugar? Well, that was the, you know, we went in with the challenge, and so far been getting some great feedback. The New York Times review book called their favorite cookbook of the season.
Nice.
Like it's like crazy, blowing
Nice.
up.
Nice.
Actually started out the first week higher on the New York Times bestseller list than How Not to Die.
Wow.
Of course, I have another year's worth of followers and stuff, but
yeah.
So yeah, very excited. It's doing really well. It's beautiful. It came out really nice. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but
I did. Yeah,
it's like
you've got
coffee table book, right? I mean, it's just
you've got
it's so
beautiful
pretty.
pictures.
I don't want to like bring it in the kitchen and get like dirty.
Get food on it,
right?
Yeah, you got sauces and spice blends, glazes. I mean, you guys really went all out with this, and
we had a blast. So I think every one of my books now is going to have a companion cookbook. So I'm working on the next book now, and we're going to do a cookbook after that as well.
That's incredible. Give me one of your favorite meals from that book, just one.
Oh, you know, I love the roasted cauliflower dishes. So for people that don't like vegetables, roasting vegetables, whether we're talking about Brussels sprouts or cauliflower, I mean, it completely changes the entire, like, it doesn't taste like cauliflower at all. Like it's a whole new entity, right? You know, it kind of caramelizes, and it's just like the texture changes, everything changes, like a roasted red pepper, right? I mean, it's just completely different. It's different flavors. It's like, it's complete transformation. And so we did a lot of kind of roasted vegetables. And so I think those recipes are good for people that think they don't like vegetables, but you just got to find a way to prepare them really nice. So so those are, because I know, look, we got to eat cruciferous vegetables, these broccoli family vegetables, but okay, how do you make them delicious? Well, when it comes to cauliflower, roasting is the secret.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I eat Brussels sprouts almost every day. I love those little things.
Wow, that's a habit we should all sign up for.
Yeah, my kids love them too. Talk for a second about the best way to get information from you and the best place to find your books, all of which I will be linking down below in the description for easy access.
Cool. They can go to nutritionfacts.org. So free, you know, everything's free, no corporate sponsorship, strictly non-commercial, no ads, not selling anything, just put it up as a public service, as a labor of love, as a tribute to my grandmother. New videos and articles every day on the latest in evidence-based nutrition. Check it out.
Well, thank you once again, Dr. Greger, for appearing here on Guilt Free TV and for the incredible work that you do around the world to promote true health and wellness. I really appreciate you.
Have a wonderful evening. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Dr. Greger.